and welcome back to the Empowher Journal, a space to create the life you want to live. If you are new here, this is where we talk about resilience, purpose, growth from impactful leaders and change makers around the world. Now, today's episode is a special one because we are talking about something that affects every industry, every company, every career, in fact. But surprisingly, nobody talks about it honestly. Sales. And I know the moment I say sales, most people picture this with a very loud, aggressive, target-chasing environment or kind of job. And honestly, that version doesn't exist anymore. Or it definitely shouldn't. That's what I think. We picked sales for this episode 38 because something interesting is happening right now. Customers have evolved, like really evolved. They walk into a conversation or store by already knowing the product, the pricing, the competition, sometimes better than the salesperson, I would say. But the way we sell, a lot of people are still stuck in that old 2005 pitch mode. And that mismatches totally. That's where deals slip, teams burn out, and careers feel stuck. This isn't just about selling. This is about how we communicate, how we build trust, how we show up as leaders. In fact, sales is actually a mirror, I would say. It shows you how well you understand people. And that's exactly why I wanted Mr. Saravanan on this episode. He is someone who has seen it all, I would say, the entire evaluation. From the old playbooks to the new reality and everything in between. He has coached teams, he has built systems, he has built careers for people and of course worked across industries over 30 years. So he gets to the ground reality better than anybody else, I would say. Mr. Saravanan, I'm really glad to have you here. Let's just get right into it.
Devaki, it is my pleasure to be part of your podcast, Empowher Journal. I'm very glad to be here and looking forward to have a very enchanting chat with you.
Great, sir. Thank you so much. So, like I started the intro, I want to break the myth today. Because when people say hardcore sales, what they're exactly imagining? Because, I personally have experienced sales in different domains. And might be the industry, the product might change, but the process seems to be, the customers keep evolving, the process seems to be evolving, but the way we sell have also evolved so much in the recent years. So what's the real truth behind the sales, sir? How does it actually looks like? It's very misunderstood, just to add that point also.
There is no real truth. There is only one truth. Sales is science plus art.
Right.
People can apply science in every part of sales. And they also have to be applying art. Every individual is unique. When I say I'm a salesperson, I'm selling something to you, Devaki. You are unique. A salesperson have to be, on that moment. When I listen to you, when I understand you, when I also adapt to the needs of you, then it becomes an art. Sales is a science plus art. And I don't know, hardcore sales or a regular sales, in your own word, sales is a simple way of doing with a passion and follow the steps. And in my opinion, anybody can be successful in sales if they have the passion for it. If they have passion for their customers. If I'm going to sell something just because my company is pushing me, just because I don't get any other job I'm into sales, I'm sorry to say that person, that individual will be a biggest failure. On the other hand, if they have a good intention like that, I can make this organization successful through any of these activities, and then the art comes into it, the heart comes into it. So you have to put your heart in anything, and even in your podcast profession, Devaki, you have your heart in it. Am I right? Otherwise, you will not able to have this on an early morning. This discussion won't happen. I think that applies to every profession, including sales, and anyone can do it, provided they have a heart for it.
That's very true, sir, actually, because the sales is often, like you mentioned, it's taken as a secondary job. Like you have no other options left and finally you end up doing a sales job. I also think it's apart from closing deals, because if the sales is about closing deals, like half of the Indians would have been sales legend as of today. which is not the case. So please tell me honestly, does aggression work at all in today's B2B world? Because the reason I'm mentioning B2B specifically is because it's difficult. I mean, there are so many red tapes, so many people to convince. You're basically selling it from one organization to another organization. So, is it a myth we need to finally throw away, or how does it work?
Glad that you brought out term B2B. B2C, B2B, B2D, there are so many things are there. And even I come to understand, even at the biggest B schools, people teach only B2C. They don't teach B2B. I don't know the reason behind it. I'm not a scholar to comment further on that. But B2B is a building relationship between two organizations. But the sales happens because of the individual who represent the organization. So when I worked as a salesperson, when I worked as a sales manager for several years in multinational organization and medium-sized Indian companies, how much I represent myself when I'm in front of the customer. How much I represent the customer when I'm in front of my management. If I have to put that, it's as simple as that. I'm the bridge between two organizations. I'm not selling, I'm not pushing, I'm not trying to oversell anything. I'm trying to understand both the organization's needs. And there is nothing called aggression. I cannot sell anything the other person doesn't have a need. Will anyone, just because GST has reduced from 28% to 18%, is somebody going to buy the third car? No. His son has become, his son has, got the license, first driving license. He wants to present a new car. It could be a K10 or it could be a BMW. It could be anything. The need comes. When the need is there, the salesperson job becomes much easier. So it is not the aggression. It is basically understanding. Once I understand the customer and their need or the pain, the sales process becomes very simple. Again, I'm telling you, I still remember the story I heard in Facebook. Then it came in WhatsApp. Somebody came to buy a Saridon. I sold a yacht. Something it looks beyond my imagination.
Actually, humanly possible kind of stuffs.
Yeah, but believe me, Devaki, when I sold the complex solutions, in reality, that's what it happens. In reverse, it happens. When I'm selling the higher value to the customer, he buys everything below without asking questions. So it's actually adapting to the customer needs and understand your product and position it. There is no aggression is required, but you need to be assertive. That's what, in my opinion, sales is all about.
So, okay. So now that we have busted the myths let's get into what actually drives modern selling. So the trust, knowing the psychology of the customer, and those first few minutes of conversation. I've heard this people say, you have to buy the initial 90 seconds with the customer, then the table is yours. Is it true?
It's true, but luckily in B2B, that is not the necessary. It happens through cold calling. In cold calling, what you said is right. I have to get the customer attention in the first 15 seconds, not even the 90 seconds. Am I right? I'm not selling me. I'm not selling my company. I'm trying to understand how I can add value to the customer. If it happens in first 15 to 30 seconds, maybe 15 is too small a time, and I get an appointment. See, people need to understand. Don't sell on the first instance. I just want to recall 3 days back, a lady, a director of a AI-based CRM company. I connected through LinkedIn. She sent a request. I just looked at her profile. I connected her. Within 30 minutes, her first request for inquiry has come. She doesn't know me. Her product doesn't suit my company. She sent a request. I kept quiet. I was little, felt very bad. But after 2 days, I sent a message back. I don't have a requirement, but please don't sell in the first interaction. First interactions are very important, but first interaction, you don't sell. Tell the feeling or sell the feeling that I know your organization. I know your pain. I know your business. Once you do that, you get an appointment. In that appointment, then you prepare yourself. So that preparation will build the trust in so many ways. The answer is right. Trust is important. You need to understand the emotional needs of the customer. It's important, but not in the first meeting itself. But for that, you need a lot of preparation. And once you build the trust, Devaki, the sales becomes much easier. The sales process becomes smaller.
Right. So on that note, what is the psychology of the customer that we should know? So like any customer, irrespective of the B2C, B2B, B2D, or does it vary industry-wise?
So there are two ways customer engagement starts. One, I have a need. I want to buy an equipment. I call Saravanan. Saravanan, do you have this automation equipment? Can you send a quotation? When customer is asking this question to me, that means customer has already decided what he needs. On that note, my ability to convince the customer reduces to less than 50% because he already made his mind what he wants. I have a role, a very little role on enhancing his expectations or what my organization can do. It reduces. In reality, as a salesperson, I don't want that kind of situation. A lot of salespeople, they love, hey, I got an inquiry, now I'm going to convert it. Actually, the conversion rate is very small. Rather, I go and understand the customer and I tell them, I create an awareness that, sir, this is what's happening elsewhere. This is what you need. And you co-create the solution. When I say solution, what customer really want, I make the customer co-create it, then I have 100% chance customer will buy from me. The psychology is you are not pushing anything through customer's throat. Customer is not pushing anything to you saying that I want only this. Both the situation, it's a win-lose or win-win. It is basically lose-win or win-lose. But I want to create a win-win. If it is a win-win, you have to co-create the solution. That psychology is very powerful. For that, you should build trust first. You should, establish yourself as the person who knows about the customer industry, who knows about the product, everything. So that's very critical. The psychology is this person knows my industry back of his hand and he is trustworthy.
Yes, beautifully put. Because the trust before talk every time. So, yes, and you also mentioned the mistake, like 90% of the sales team repeats across the industry. Well said. And actually it hits hard, like people, they just want to sell without knowing whether the product is required or it's fitting, nothing. But I also believe it's avoidable. Like you said, if people can do little more research before they reach out to the respective company or the person. So let's talk about the people who are doing it right, the modern sales performers. Because if hardcore selling is a myth, like you said, there is no shouting on the floor, there is no this Wolf of Wall Street kind of setup drama which is happening in today's sales world, then what does a truly high performing salesman look like in today's landscape?
When I started my sales career, somewhere 93, 94, Devaki, there were no tools. The manuals are big. There is no internet. The email ID is going to be like, the street length. It will be starting with, VSNL, all those things. We never used to open our emails. Today, every salesperson has the power of a Google or ChatGPT, Perplexity, or name it. Am I right? And the information is there everywhere. But still, what I do, I go and meet the customer and handshake with them and tell them, sir, I have XYZ product. Do you need it? This is a average sales. But today, modern day sales. But still, I'm telling you that 90-10 still holds good, Devaki. I'm sorry to say that. The 10%, what they do research. They understand the customer. They understand the market drivers, how it affects the customer. Example, when there was a BS4 to BS6 shift happened in automotive, all the companies stopped diesel engine manufacturing. So you need to understand what is the problem, happening in that industry specific to that customer, or there's a manpower issue, or there is a quality issue. It could be a competition related, or it could be government related. So I need to do that research. And second thing, I need to know how my product or solution can add value to my customer. No longer the features help the customer. These features, how it will help the customer to get a benefit. Now we are recording it on a Zoom right now. Why Zoom is successful? It made people to connect from wherever they are. Am I right? So it reduces people's necessity to travel. Thanks to pandemic, we got used to this. Now it is acceptable norm. In my old days, people always want to see you. I still expect to see person to person. So the preparation, the technology, how you use the technology, and how you deliver it to the customer. And again, when I say deliver, you should not say like this is it. You have to keep it open so that customer has his say and customer is able to add his own points. Having said that, you also need to go back to the customer. Customer is not going to convince in 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. They have so much of data. And today, as much information you have, the customer also have so much of information. He will research about you. So you need to have patience. And you need to make sure the customer understand the value of it. And last one, you need to know how to calculate ROI, return on investment. Nobody spends a penny without a reason. So if you're able to connect the dots, and today the modern way sales or even in the future also, this will help. You need to know why customer has to use this, not buy this. First, you have to convince them by using this technology, by using this solution, customer will get benefit and he will automatically make a decision. That is sales.
Okay. So then please tell me, is there anything that the sales team, before they even enter into the sales domain, should unlearn immediately to survive?
Number one, this is not a door-to-door sales, as most of the people think. I have to knock the door, I have to give a demo, and I have to get a lot of negative answers. No, this is not B2B sales. One company somewhere around 30 years back, they tarnished the image of sales. No, this is a professional enterprise sales. When I mean enterprise sales, you are valued at the customer place. So first, you have to believe sales is a noble profession. Number two, sales can be learned. Sales can be applied. And everyone in sales are successful people. They are not there just because, they don't have any other job. And the last one, every salesperson create 5 job positions inside their organization minimum. That means you're not only supporting your organization, you're not only supporting your family by your earning, you're also supporting the society by creating more job positions. So you are in a very powerful, very, very powerful situation, helping the society. Am I right? And fourth one, you have the right chance, you have the maximum chance to run your own organization. It's not just 1 year, 2 years, after 5 to 10 years, you can become a successful entrepreneur being a successful salesperson. So I think that brings the biggest advantage of being a salesperson.
Yes, so yes, unlearning being such an underrated skill, and especially the sales one which you have said. When did you personally realize that such structured, calm way selling works and that beats the pressure which is thriving in the ambience today?
I have to be very open with you, Devaki. It took several years for me. And a lot of people used to tell me, Saravanan, I'm talking about my early sales career. When I start my presentation, it will be like 7 or 8 minutes presentation. I will only stop when the presentation is over. No stop, no comma, not looking at the customer, not looking at whether customer likes it or not. And my seniors who used to travel with me, they'll say, I worked in North India for initial 3-4 years. They used to say, Saravanan, for Tamil Nadu, one Rajini is enough. You are talking like Rajini, you are talking like so fast, and that's not good for sales. They said the purpose of your communication today is to make your customer understand. You have to have a pass. You should, adapt. And then, next 10 years, I just sharpen my communication. Here I want to share the communication has 3 parts. One, you know what you're talking. Number 2, you make understand the other person understand your communication. Third one, make them take a action. if there is no action from their side, the communication is a failure. Okay. Now, the moment my communication is improved, the moment my product knowledge is improved, and then I also understood the customer phenomena. Every customer is unique, and I need not talk the same thing for every customer. And I realize my success depends on customers' need. I think that shift took several years, Devaki. I don't want to say I came from the sky. No. And at this point of time, I want to thank all my sales managers who made it possible.
Interesting, because the reason I asked you is now I've seen a lot of calm ones are the ones who are secretly winning in the sales domain. So speaking of the evolution, let's jump to your 30 plus years in the space that has transformed dramatically, I would say, the industrial automation. You've been in this automation for over 30 years. What has changed the most in the industry in your perspective?
Today, I'll tell you, the change is the change. When I started my career, the technology used to change once in 15 years. I don't want to name the technology what it was. But today, the technology changes, if not every day, it changes every 6 months. I'll just give a small example. The mobile you are carrying, it is 256 GB data you can carry. Think about it 3 years back. You are having very small data space. Even 256 GB. Some of my friends complain, hey, this is not enough. Can I add one more add-on card? It is as good as that happening in the industry also. The AI, the ML, the IoT, Industry 4.0, edge devices, name everything. Everything changes the way we collect the data, the way we process the data, we take a decision. Everything has changed in the last 5-6 years. The robot has become cobot, and the cobots are collaborating, and then the AI helps the organization to take a decision. IoT gives you millions of data. So these all have changed. But what has not changed, Devaki? P is equal to VI. Every electrical engineer understand. For a mechanical, the power comes from your speed and torque. This formula has not changed yet.
Okay.
So ultimately, when you're going into the manufacturing, you should know the basics of the manufacturing. Ultimately, whatever technology you are inventing, it goes into the manufacturing. If manufacturing is not happening, you cannot eat AI. Robot, alone cannot solve all your problems. So you need to be very strong on your basics. On the basics, like the fundamentals are stronger. Over and above, you can build the AI, ML, robot, cobot, AI, everything you can do that. So while the technology is moving very fast, the basics remain same. Basics remain very strong. And you need to combine both. I'm not saying, I don't want to sound like, no, Saravanan doesn't like it. No. I sold all this technology very early. I sold IoT in 2003. Earlier, we used to call MES. Now also MES there, but people more understand about IoT. I sold IoT in 2003, but IoT has to be used inside a factory. So you need to understand the factory. You need to understand manufacturing. You need to understand the manufacturing process. As a salesperson, you need to understand the buying process, the buying decision-making process. That didn't change. So technology, you have to use in your own job. You have to use AI. You have to use, all the data you have to use. But again, the person has same set of issues. Manufacturing, target, today's production, OEE, all remain same. So we need to combine both.
Spot on. Because the ground reality is very different from those conferences stage conversations. So now the fun part is the future, sir. Like you've rightly pointed out this, how these IoT, AI, robotics or cobot reshaping industrial operations and the decision making in the floor today.
So today the decisions are made like that. This is what the world is thinking. More the data, more the confusion. And I'm asking you, today you open your laptop, Devaki, how many mails are not opened for last 3 years?
Yeah, I still have some 15,000 unread mails in my conversation.
Am I right?
Yeah.
It is applicable to the industry also. Am I right? They have so much of data, it is there in their email or it is there in their database and nobody cares. You know why? they don't know what to do that with the data.
Exactly, sir. People consume so much of data, like reports after reports, dashboards, data about everything we have. But what do we do with that? Where are we getting with those data?
The biggest problem is when you are getting into a system, when you're buying a system, you don't know why you're actually buying it. Somebody pushed it. And even you take a CRM in our own domain. People buy CRM, but they don't utilize it. People buy a mobile and they use it to watch YouTube. It is as same as that. But mobile has multiple facilities. Even your podcast can be recorded in your mobile. But are we using it for that? But you're only watching Instagram. I'm not against Instagram. But mobile is not only for Instagram. The same way, you have a data, you have a equipment, how well you are utilizing it. It is like, using a F1 race car for taking it to the market, buying a vegetable. Use it for the right purpose. So please understand what is the purpose. And I know 90% of the companies are utilizing it very well, but some of the companies are struggling with the data. That's what I understand.
Yes, I could sense that, although we have intelligent ecosystems, not all the industries, we are still yet to catch up. And at this rate, sir, I think the machines will soon start giving us performance reviews, seeing the situation.
But I should open my WhatsApp to review that. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so while tech is evolving, the talent must evolve with it as well, right? So what skills do young engineers today who are entering the automation sector absolutely need to build the stay relevant? Because that is also an important key, staying relevant to the needs, understanding the technology.
I have 6 or 7 things I want to mention here.
Please.
Go to basics will never change. And if your basics are not strong and you introduce yourself as an AI engineer or, I have a data mining capability and whatnot. But basics remain basics. Am I right? Without basics, you cannot be successful. I still remember in one of the interviews, my ex-boss used to tell, hey, we don't want electrical engineer, we don't want mechanical engineer, or we don't want mechatronics engineer. We want engineers. Today, the world has gone much beyond. We have gone into IT, we've gone into CS, today we call it about AI, we call it about cybersecurity. We say so many, am I right? But is cybersecurity a specialization alone will help you to be successful? Yes, today you will be very, very, very successful. But tomorrow, when somebody remove the cybersecurity from the equation, in reality, you cannot remove cybersecurity from the equation. What happens to you? Can you survive? So the idea is you become an engineer first, then add specialization to it. Then what happens? It is very easy for you to add anything above the fundamentals. You have only the specialization. Getting into one more specialization will be very difficult for you. So that's number 1. Number 2, make sure you listen well. I'm sorry to say this. Most of the current level people, irrespective of the age, they don't listen. When you listen, half of the problem gets solved. Number 3, you have to sell your concept. For that, you need communication. Next one, you need to have emotional intelligence. Everybody go through emotions. Everybody go through situations. They need not be the same every time. Every customer, every situation need not be the same. So you have to be EI enabled. Then use the technology for learning every day. When I'm saying every day, somebody might laugh at, hey, I already have a degree. I already have I've done my PhD. You might have a PhD. You might have anything. But are you relevant today? Are you relevant to your organization today? Do you know what your organization is willing to do? So the last one, the most important one, set a goal for your next 5 years. I used to tell people 15 years. Now I stopped saying 15 years. Do you know in 2030 what you will be? Set a goal, travel towards that. If you don't have a goal, you are only going to be driven by your organization, by the technology, by the madness of the society. Set a goal and be an example for the rest of the people. I think this is what I would suggest, irrespective of their field, irrespective whether they're from engineering, whether they're from any field. I think these things would help them to succeed not only today, sustain for several years to come.
This is gold, sir. Every young professional like who wants to get into sales or who are accidentally in sales should rewind this part, like what it is, what does it takes. Great.
Not only, even for anybody who want to be a journalist or want to be a professional doctor. I think this is applicable to everybody who want to get into a domain. And they need to have their basics. Without the basics, they can probably survive for 2-3 years, but they cannot sustain. And then they need to know why they are into that industry. Because their mama said, because their chitapa said, they should not be in. They should be there because they have a purpose. Set the purpose, set the goal, and your life looks wonderful.
Lovely. So while we are debunking things here, literally, so I would like to address some myths as well. Not only with regards to automation, but overall. What are some myths about this industry that even experienced professionals still believe?
The myth is sales is difficult. Sales is target oriented. Sales means always pressure. I just want to ask those people, can you just show me one profession which doesn't have target? Show me one profession doesn't have a pressure. If a particular profession doesn't have a pressure or a target, I'm telling you, you are not being valued. A doctor has a target to complete the operation. He has to complete the eye operation in 15 minutes. He has to complete another doctor. He has to complete an open heart surgery in 7 hours. And then unwritten rules are there for bank managers.
Okay.
They have to book so many FDs in a month. The teller has to book as many FD or a RD or whatever it is. You go to a teller because you hardly go to any bank, but the moment you go, they will sell an insurance product. The chief ministers of the states, the prime ministers of the country, all of them have targets. If there are no targets, our country, our states will not grow. Am I right? So if somebody says sales has a target, I'm sorry to use this word, it's a BS. Am I right?
Okay.
And when you are having a target, that means you are valuable. Your results are valuable to your organization. And then you become, goal oriented, and your life becomes more important. You are connecting, as earlier said, you are connecting the customer and your company, and you're also creating job positions more. And why do you want to hate this? Enjoy this and understand what value you are creating for you, your family, your organization, your team, and the society. You will not feel bad for having a target. You are the engine of your organization. I think this I want everybody to consider. If anybody, after hearing your podcast, if somebody want to say, hey, Saravanan, this job position doesn't have any target, please connect with me. I would like to understand. I would like to learn. Probably I will also preach to the world that job is better than sales.
Sure. I wish these myths just die, like those never-ending forward messages. It keeps roaming around. Okay, so time to close strong with some wisdom from your experience. You have engaged with over 200 organization, like multiple automation organization. What separates the true leaders from the laggards in this industry? I had to ask this.
Anybody. I'm not talking about, the leaders of existing leaders. I don't want to talk anybody. The future leaders. The future leaders, they are somebody who will able to succeed. They will able to teach their success mantra to others. They will become true leaders, and they will consistently create more leaders. I don't want to demand this to anyone else. The existing leaders, anyway, they are doing it. If you want to really a good leader, if you want to become a really good leader, be successful, consistently, and teach more to others. Make them more successful. The whole world will salute you. So being a leader is not creating followers. Create more leaders better than you. I just borrowed this word from John Maxwell, my leadership guru, and that's what he says. You have to create more leaders. For that, first you have to become a leader.
That's incredible, because that's a kind of clarity that can come only from the real field experience. Thank you so much. I think that's the perfect place to wrap. So what I loved about today's conversation is nothing was theoretical, that it was not at all about theory. It wasn't about corporate jargons or some complex abbreviations. It was totally about the ground reality. So, what is your feeling, sir? What do you like to say about that?
I could able to express myself. That's what I felt, and I hope I will able to reach more real target through this, and more people will understand the real power of sales and industrial sales. And looking forward to get a lot of calls through your podcast, Devaki. And I'm very, very glad we had this, discussion chat this morning, and looking forward to reach your audience through this discussion.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a honest and very clear answers about what actually works out in the fields today. Because conversations like this reminds us that growth isn't about being louder or faster or just about numbers. It's about being aware, curious, and doing the actual work that would make the difference. So to everyone listening, whether you're in sales, automation, engineering, or just figuring out your path, remember this: no one has everything ever figured out completely. But the people who stay open, who learn, who unlearn, who evolve, they are the ones who actually move ahead in life. Thank you for spending time with us today, sir.
Very nice, very nice. And I'm very glad, really, glad that this happened today.
This is the Empowher Journal. If today's conversation gave you something to think about, do take a second to follow, share, or send this episode to someone who will benefit from it. Thank you and Nandri.